On this edition of Motown Exile, one trade just changed the whole Detroit offseason. David Montgomery is gone. And it's not just about one running back, it's the domino effect on the Lions' identity. Meanwhile, the Pistons just put together a week that actually matters. Michigan just locked up the Big Ten crown, and now the Natty conversation is real. Tigers are tuning up, Red Wings are in meaningful games in the spring. If you're a Detroit fan living in exile, this is your home. Motown Exile starts now. Welcome to another edition of Motown Exile. My name is Ryan Relkin, and you can see with me I have the prodigal son. Brendan Relkin has returned to his rightful place here on Motown Exile. It's a busy day in sports. It's been a busy last week for the city of Detroit, for all of our Motown teams. Big news out of Allen Park today. The Lions made a big trade. Some expected it. I was kind of on the fence about it. But I don't think anyone was surprised by it. David Montgomery going to the Houston Texans. What are your thoughts, Brendan?
I think it's a okay move, honestly. I do think it's not a winning move. Like, I don't think we should have David Montgomery, but I don't know. It's not a winning move. It's a Brad Holmes move, and we'll see where it goes. Honestly, I think cutting Graham Glasgow was more of a winning move, to be honest. Because that kind of frees up space, and I think that's going to lead to a pretty good move on the O-line. So maybe David Montgomery, the 4th round pick, 7th round pick, and the guy we got could be I think that's probably us trying to get some material to make a trade.
So, Brendan, you were talking about the trade, and so the Lions today sent David Montgomery to the Houston Texans. In return, they got a guard/center, Juice Scruggs, former second-round draft pick of the Houston Texans. Also, I think most important for the Lions there is they got a 4th-round draft pick in this year's draft, which I think was one of the draws for the Lions because they going into that trade did not have a 3rd or 4th round pick. So I think that was something that Brad Holmes wanted as a depth piece. I think that it's going to get really wild coming up, though. I think that there's some interesting things on the horizon. I think there's going to be some surprises. You mentioned Graham Glasgow getting cut today, and he was a serviceable player. I feel for him a little bit because I don't think that when he signed that he was expecting to be the starting center, and I think he was out of his element and a little bit long in the tooth. He was supposed to be a depth piece, and it really hurt the team. All things considered, Goff still threw for 4,500 yards without having an interior line. What kind of moves do you foresee the Lions making coming up here?
I think Tyler Linderbaum is going to be on the team very soon. I think that's the main thing. I think that's the pieces that we just got was to trade for him. I don't think Juice Scruggs is going to be on this team coming up soon. I think that's the main thing that will come up. I'm not sure about the draft, really. I haven't really thought about it too much. I just think whoever's best available, whether it's O-line, defense, doesn't really matter. I do not want an experimental move like Gibbs was. But he obviously is Gibbs, but that it just doesn't happen all the time. And if it does, that's cool, but I don't want to have to stress about that and think about that player all the time. So I just hope that they get somebody good, and then we'll see. I think Gibbs can do it all. He'll be fine. Craig Reynolds, if they want to keep him around, would be a great backup still, to be honest. Or they could just draft a late round guy, which is what they'll probably do. So
might be a chance to give Vaki a shot to see what he can do. He only has 18 carries in 2 years. Mm-hmm. So, he's not a proven commodity at all. He's another experiment. If you've watched any of the episodes in the last month or so, I've been pretty critical of, and Vaki was one of those people I was critical of Brad Holmes. Giovanni Manu is a constant target of mine. I don't understand that pick still. I hope that he proves me wrong. Mm-hmm. Dan Campbell is a Bill Parcells disciple. Bill Parcells is famous for saying, you give a guy till his 3rd camp, and if he can't make the team out of his 3rd camp, then he's gone. And I think that's what's going to happen with Manu. He's going to have to come in, and he's going to have to perform in training camp, and he's going to have to earn a spot. And there's a lot of depth at tackle in this year's draft. I think the Lions will, with their picks, if they keep their picks, will probably take a tackle at some point. There's also a lot of depth at defensive end. That's a route that the Lions could take. There's the wild cards out there. They could still make a trade. I mean, the splash trade is still out there. Rumors were at the combine that the Lions were close to pulling the trigger and were willing to offer 2 first-round picks to the Las Vegas Raiders for Max Crosby. And I think that the Lions front office and their top brass saw him as the final piece. But something else happened. And if you saw my most recent episode of Motown Exile, I got into depth about Terrion Arnold and his antics and what he may have been up to, allegedly. Just a really crazy situation there where the Lions, part of the Max Crosby trade rumors, where they pulled back from that, thinking they might need to keep that pick to draft a corner.
Yeah, it's true.
So there's a lot of mystery and intrigue surrounding the Detroit Lions right now, and it's going to be interesting to watch and see. I'm going to miss David Montgomery. I love David Montgomery. I wish him nothing but the best. I think that's a great spot for him to land. They need a running back. He's going to be the featured guy there, and I think that's a team with their strong defense. They're looking for a guy who can possess the ball and go out and punish people on the offensive side at running back, and I think David Montgomery is going to be able to do that for the Texans. I think he's going to be a great pickup for them. So we'll see what happens with the Lions there. You mentioned Tyler Linderbaum, free agency starting March 11th. So we'll have more on Motown Exile to come talking about that. I know, Brendan, you've been chomping at the bit to talk a little bit about the Detroit Pistons. They had a huge week last week. 3 marquee opponents, not counting Sunday's opponent against Orlando. They went 2-1 at home against 3 really good teams, solid playoff teams, potential NBA Finals matchups against Oklahoma City, and then also in that game against San Antonio. What are your thoughts coming away from there?
The San Antonio game was really the only game that I paid attention to fully. I watched the highlights of the other 2, but or the other 3. But that one was tough because they looked like they had it in them to pull it through. But Wembanyama he's too much. I mean, the rest of the team was just shooting so well. And like you said a couple days ago to me, sharpshooting and the getting hot on the other side is going to be a problem for the Pistons. So they got to prevent that. And then same with Cunningham getting foul trouble in 3 of those games, 1 fouling out. That can't happen. So, especially in the big games. I mean, obviously, he hasn't had much foul trouble this year. He maybe averages 3. And the Thunder game was good. I mean, it was kind of disappointing at the same time because, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander wasn't there. Same with J-Dub. So they really had, they still have great players. It's still a playoff team, nonetheless, without those 2. But it's disappointing to not really give it to them. To be honest, the Cleveland one again, also same thing. James Harden and Donovan Mitchell were out. They kind of just let the backups get on them, but it was still a great Detroit win. And the Magic was good. Defense was really playing well, and Cade has been on fire since the Knicks game, since All-Star break has ended, so he's been great.
He's looked like an MVP candidate, big time.
He'll probably be MVP.
If the season ended today, I think it would be a travesty if he weren't selected as MVP. You and I had a chance to go and see the Pistons play the Suns here in Phoenix, and that was one of those games where we kind of got to see what the Achilles heel for the Pistons is. The Suns were lights out from outside. The Pistons were the exact opposite. They were ice cold, kind of like how they were against the Magic on Sunday in Orlando, where they really struggled from 3-point range. But
they went 4 or 5. It was crazy.
Right, and they are, and they really do just have a superior roster to the Magic, and so that carried them.
Yeah.
That Cleveland game, I mean, you weren't here to watch the game with me, but that was they were really lucky to win that game.
Yeah, the foul on Dennis Jenkins was crazy. I mean, shout out him for being clutch and making all 3. I mean, he's been dominant in the paint all year, and he's easily the best center in the Eastern Conference. And if Jokic didn't exist, he'd be the best center in the league right now. But I mean, yeah, he's been great. But
speaking of the Joker, did you see that fight in the game
Dort, yeah, yeah.
yesterday. That what did you think of that? Lou Dort, a former Arizona State Sun Devil.
Yeah, Dort's getting dirty. He's been really dirty lately, and I'm not appreciative of it, but it's whatever. I like to see some of those fights and stuff like that, and it's just competitiveness and stupidity, but it's fun, you know.
Yeah, he tried to be. He wasn't very subtle, was he?
No.
That was so bad when I watched the replay of that.
Yeah.
I'm like that is terrible. So, what are some big games the Pistons have coming up here in the near future?
They have Spurs and Thunder again this month. I believe Spurs are first in a couple days. Both away games, so those are much bigger than these home games this last month. So, but the rest of the schedule is pretty easy. They have 76ers, easy off games, but I think they'll probably lose three maybe this month. I think they're going to be still great and looking themselves. I believe they will reach 60 wins, so that'll be awesome. That's first time in forever, or yeah, since I've been alive, really. Um, yeah, I think they'll be great. And then March, obviously being March Madness, Michigan looking dominant as usual. The Duke game was fine, honestly. There was some players that I didn't love in that game, like Cadeau was pretty off. Uh,
They kind of did what the Pistons when they struggled do, and they were ice cold from 3-point range. If they had shot their
they're very
normal,
similar teams. They are.
yeah, if they shot their normal percentage, though, they probably would have won that Duke game.
Yeah, and Mara getting in foul trouble early was pretty tough. So, and he just had to play careful, which is not his style. He's very in the paint and likes to put it on physically. So it was kind of tough seeing him have foul trouble. So he's a guy. He's not like the best player, but if he gets in foul trouble, it's tough because like Michigan needs those height matchups, especially with Yaxel being a literal three and he's like 6'5". And then Johnson's big, but he's got to be the power forward. He can't be the center. So having Mara in is huge, and he's got to stay out of foul trouble. So.
Yeah, it seems to me like going into March Madness and Michigan clinching the regular season Big Ten title and the number one seed in the upcoming Big Ten tournament. It seems like there are about 4 or 5 teams that could win the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan being one of them, Duke being one of them,
Mm-hmm.
Arizona being one of them, Iowa State possibly being one of them.
Yeah, Iowa State and Arizona are playing right now, actually. So
The Big 12 is strong, as expected. That's one area where when the conference realignments, football was a concern whether it was going to be as strong in the Big 12, obviously losing Oklahoma and losing Texas. But basketball-wise, to add Arizona, it was big. I mean, Arizona is a blue blood, too.
Arizona's up 18 right now, and Iowa State at home. So I don't, Iowa State's in like the top 6, but I really don't think they're cut out for it. I think I like Houston a little bit. I really just think it's those top 3 teams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anybody else winning this year.
Yeah.
To be honest, I could see some like upsets, of course, because March Madness is March Madness. But these top 3 are easily the like clear Final 4.
You correct me if I'm wrong. There's not like a Cooper Flag type who can single-handedly dominate the tournament like he was a year ago.
I think Boozer can, to be honest, on Duke. That's the only player I can think of. I think if it's team-wise, it's Michigan, Arizona as well, kind of. But yeah, Duke I like. I just don't know. It's going to be iffy if Boozer can be 100%. Like, Michigan had them right there. Like, they had Boozer in foul trouble, and he was out for a couple minutes, but they just kind of screwed themselves, and they could have won that game by like 10 points easily.
Yeah.
So it was kind of sad, but
it was a great atmosphere, though. It felt like a Final Four
top 2 team
type of atmosphere.
Matchup,
It was fantastic. Yeah, a lot of fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to talk about? Want to talk a little Tigers?
Yeah, we could talk a little Tigers. They've been terrible spring training, so at least record-wise, they couldn't win at all. But McGonigal looks ready for sure.
Yeah.
I think he'll be on the opening day in Arizona. Max Clark, his fielding has been a little iffy. He had that one game where he dropped 2, but he'll be fine. I don't think he'll make opening day though. I think he'll be AAA for a bit, but he'll get there. Scooble, he's been dominating. But yeah, They've been looking decent. I think it's going to be kind of same old. They're going to have to win a lot of games early, and then they're going to have to actually make a move this trade deadline for a bat because it looks the same, honestly. So
Well, it looks to me like, I mean, you have to say after some of the moves that they made, bringing in Verlander and
mhm.
and adding another talent at pitcher, I think it looks like maybe Chris Ilitch is going to make some moves. He's
Yeah,
willing to.
I think they will. I think they will. I'm confident actually this year for some reason, even though I still don't believe in Chris Ilitch and still despise him in ways. But I think this pitching rotation is easily the best outside of the Dodgers. To be honest, like I don't see anybody else really competing. Like there might be better pitchers out there, but I think like if you just look at the line, like we have seven great pitchers, and if Reese Olson was playing this year, it'd be eight. But it's whatever. They still got seven. But yeah,
Well, it might be a long time before we see baseball after this season for if things go the way that I'm hearing with possible work stoppage.
hmm
A lot of things are kind of catching up with the Los Angeles Dodgers and some of the and let me preface the fact that they've played by the rules. They haven't broken any rules.
hmm
They haven't done anything shady. They've just been able to manipulate the system the way that it exists right now, paying guys into their 50s.
yeah. And the Tigers did the same thing this year with Verlander and Valdez, I believe. I
They
know
did.
Verlander they did. I think they did with Valdez as well. Verlander's only getting paid like 3 to 4 million this year, and he's
Hmm.
getting paid I think like 10 to 15 something, and when he's 49. So
I have a feeling, and I don't have any facts to back this up. It's just a gut feeling. The fact that they didn't trade Tarek Skubal in the offseason,
yeah,
that I think they're going to maybe offer a similar contract to him before
it
it goes into a lockout
yeah.
while it's still legal. And I think that's why I think they still haven't traded him. I think that they're closer to a deal maybe than we know.
Yeah, I believe so too, honestly. But this first half is really going to be important, so we'll see if they're down bad, then school is going. Um, if they're doing great, I think they're going to extend them a long time. So we'll see.
It's going to be interesting. A lot of fun right now. You and I were talking a while back. It's been a long time since we've been able to enjoy playoff sports in the spring along with Tiger baseball. Red Wings
hmm
are still in playoff contention, but you and I are kind of both a little bit like we'll believe it when we see it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like the Tigers a couple years ago is how I feel about the Red Wings, and I honestly don't trust the Red Wings at all. They frustrate me. I don't even like to even pay attention to them because they always have
Even though
this.
Gibson's a Vezina candidate,
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And why wouldn't you build right now? Like, come on. Like, I know I don't really believe in Stanley Cup. I mean, unless they pull a 2019 Blues, but
I'll be happy with the first round
if
series,
they just
maybe
can win
two
a
rounds.
series, yeah, they just got to get some like juice in them for next year, so they can continue and actually spend money, just like the Tigers. It's the same thing. Like the Tigers had the wild card win against the Guardians, and then we saw them against um, what's their face? Oh,
Seattle.
Seattle, and they're starting to spend. So it's like they know they can win. Like look at them. So I think if they can I think I've heard some rumors. I mean, I always do. They're always top three interested in a player every
Hmm.
year, and then
Hmm.
they just nothing happens. Like it's just I don't even care if they're interested. I want to see them actually sign a guy. So
It seems to me that part of what they've been waiting for is to get this rookie crop up and
yeah,
see what they had available to them, and then go from there. So,
yeah. It's been taking forever. They still don't have their top goalie prospect in there.
hmm.
So I think that's why I also think like this year's huge because like if you can keep Gibson and then he'll be called up next year. Um, there's a lot of potential there. It's kind of the same thing. Tigers and Red Wings are very similar with like farm system and players, to be honest.
Same
But
ownership.
yeah, but they gotta see something.
Well,
So
the Tigers general manager's name's slipping my mind right now. Um,
oh, Scott Harris.
Scott Harris, yeah. Scott Harris said that Christopher Ilitch has not gotten in the way of any moves that he wants to make, and that's why he was able to go and do the Valdez signing and was able to do the Verlander signing. a lot of that turns the spotlight on the hockey side of the business onto Steve Yzerman. And now Steve Yzerman's my favorite hockey player of all time. I grew up on Steve Yzerman. I grew up in the 80s. Steve Yzerman is a legend as a player for Detroit. His welcome is starting to get a little worn out, I think.
Yeah.
If he doesn't start to produce, I think they need to make the playoffs for his survival this year in Detroit. So, well, Brendan, we're going to wrap things up for today. Thanks for coming back on here. It's always fun to have somebody to talk to when I'm on here. There's going to be lots of news and opportunities for us to get back together. Yeah. Hopefully the Lions make a splash move coming up. Hopefully something else cool happens with the playoff run for the Pistons.
Yeah, this month's going to be huge.
And maybe the Red Wings will surprise us, and maybe we're looking at another Wolverine Final Four. I've gotten to see them win a national championship. Hopefully this is the year that you get to see them advance past.
I've seen 2 national championships, but I've never gotten to see it. They should have won in 2013. Yeah, they should have won. Same with, they should have won in 2018 too, but that's another story.
Well, it's going to be a fun spring. So hopefully you are all doing well wherever you're at right now. Brendan, again, thanks for coming on today. For Brendan Relkin, I'm Ryan Relkin saying so long. We'll see you next time on Motown Exile.